that conversation, the reason why I'm getting tired of the gender wars is because of the fact that it's never like they want to acknowledge the double standards of the gender wars consistently. So it's like you want to get these aha, oh, you're being a hypocrite moment, but it's really not hypocritical because we're in different situations. We have different, uh basically parameters of life to live by. So the whole Tracy Ellis Ross thing happened, and of course, Mel was ended up being the person to defend. I really wish Mark wasn't there, right? But
He was not.
yeah,
No, no, he was
yeah,
No,
not.
he was not.
that's one of those conversations I would have missed him for. But other than that, like it was, it was a tiring conversation to me.
Well, why does Joe have his hand up? What's
Because he about to start some bullshit.
Go ahead.
If y'all offer me Wendy's right now, I'll rap.
Hey, I get you the 5 for 5, the 6 for 6. What you want?
I was
I got a
waiting.
4 for 4.
I was waiting on this topic just to rap because whatever I think y'all about to say, I may agree with. Nigga said specifically to Melyssa Savannah, Mel, do you have anything you would like to say about this Tracy Ellis Ross story? Because if you do not, we do not.
You said that in the
We
BTS.
we would rather skip this.
Yeah, you said that in the BTS today. I remember that. During the pre-production, y'all was working on the board.
Oh, I don't, wherever, I don't know what's being the BTS. She said, cool. And the very first thing out her mouth was, how do y'all feel about this? Which naturally led to whatever the fuck you heard.
That's why you guys
So,
reacted like that. Okay.
so I'm not wearing this one. I'm not wearing
But
this
do
one
you understand why she
because
asked?
I'm totally cool with never ever discuss. We don't care about it. And then we got to sound like we care about it when we don't care. I don't think it's right.
Okay, so you would have rather her just say no, let's not talk about it because you wanted to more so speak to whatever she had to say and then move on.
Yes, take the lead. Let us respond to you and let's get out of here. But let this be your time to do whatever you want to do with this. But if that's not what it's going to be, then this is not the podcast that's going to find the woman quote every week to harp on and unpack and make something out of. Like that's not what we're here for. Yes, baby.
Yeah, because that's definitely going to put a target on y'all back. Well, make the target on your back even bigger because, of course, y'all get criticism pretty much week in and week out about various different topics
We
that
not mature enough for this, man. We not like Jesus. Just just do it so we could go.
But that's why I felt like I would have rather Mark be there because sometimes I want to hear the conversation.
Well, Mark wasn't there, man.
damn sounds like you need to. Never mind.
See, look. Oh,
Mark, you
go
need
ahead.
to clear up your
Go ahead,
schedule,
Stag. Do
okay?
it.
Clear up the schedule because Joe says the reason why you ain't on is because of your scheduling.
Yeah, I know he got to feed the homeless kids 9 times a week. I know he got night school twice a night. I know what I said. Yeah, I know you got to go over to the church and give motivational speeches. But hey, man, a lot of fans would love to have you on the pod full time.
We'll figure it out. There's all, I ain't going nowhere no time soon. We'll figure everything out.
That's a big nope.
No, it's not.
But
That's not what that meant.
That meant we'll figure
That
it out as
definitely
in
meant that.
contracts. We need to get
Big
the
bucks.
amendments.
Big bucks.
Such
That
a
shit gonna
funny
be a
topic for the audience to discuss. Ha ha ha.
Then he's like, "Yeah, y'all chill. I'm trying to buy another Ferrari."
Anybody else have anything on this topic? Oh, Melyssa, hey. Hey, Mel.
Oh, Big Mel. Okay.
Mel, you've come. I was scared that you would never come back to us again.
Why would you be afraid about that?
Hey, good
All
to
Because
meet
my
you.
The
you
favorites
up
interview was
came on
great.
stage today. Oh my god.
like seriously, like I know she's had a rough time with some of the assholes in this community. So that's why, and I respect people, doing what they have to take care of their mental health. But welcome up here, Mel. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're great. I'm
We're,
Mm,
I'm
we're
shooting
great.
at
Hi, Mel.
everybody.
Welcome up.
thank you.
I've been shooting at all the guys today, so I'm pretty good.
Mm.
From the start. Hell, honestly, from the musical intro, if I'm really being honest.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Mel,
Yep.
I'm sure you were listening. How are you feeling? What's going on? What's your thoughts?
Um, Joe's right in the beginning part. He did ask, "Do you have any thoughts on this Tracy Ellis Ross situation?" And at the moment, I didn't because I hadn't seen the interview. So I sat down and tried to catch up. And every time Tracy Ellis Ross says something as it relates to her age, it's a conversation that happens to go viral. You really on Twitter right now, it's Tracy Ellis Ross, it's Sinners, and it's Kendrick's concert. That's what everyone's fucking talking about. And the men have a lot to say about it. So the attitude or the dismissive attitude about that particular conversation is really kind of like pissing me off a little bit, you know? And furthermore, whenever conversations come up like that, gender war kind of shit, they always say, Mel, what do you think? On this particular time, I have learned I'm not going to be the first one to speak. What I want to hear is what do you guys think about this particular subject? And then I'm going to give my opinion. And then we will build off that conversation. But if there's no actual interest in hearing what I have to say about a woman centric issue, then fine. We won't talk about it. We won't talk about it. I just feel like I couldn't win for losing in that particular situation. And also, I felt like the other guys in the conversation, the other guys on the pod, they were actually enjoying the conversation and having the conversation. Flip was very inquisitive about it, but he kept looking over and he kept getting signaled that this is not a point of interest and wrap it up. So it's just like I don't know. It's one of those things where you don't really know how to, I don't know, just you just kind of have to let the ebb and flow just go how it's going to go.
I definitely see what you're saying about in the past, trying to learn from the past. Like, I thought the whole reason why you asked them to say their points of view was so that you could get a better understanding and communicate better to them instead of just coming from it from your perspective, like we've like spoken about before. um
Yes, no, that is an excellent point. I did want to hear what their opinions were on it. I wasn't setting them up. I genuinely wanted to hear what they had to say, and I didn't want anything I had to say being of any sort of influence, bad, good, or indifferent. So I wanted to hear how they heard her. I wanted to hear, did you hear the words coming out of her mouth? And how did you process that? Because we can listen to somebody talk, and we're all going to have different takeaways. We're all going to hear different inflections. We're all going to hear emphasis on different angles or whatever the case is. We're going to hear different shit. And that's how discourse happens. That's how conversations happen because you heard it one way and I heard it another. And I found it I was interested to find out how they heard a 52-year-old woman who is talking about a myriad of subjects related to her life. The grieving process of, life taking a different direction rather than husband and kids, dating younger men because men in her age category seemed to be a little bit more, it seemed to exhibit more toxic masculinity. She said a lot. So I wanted to hear what were the things that they heard that they took notice of. That was why I asked them to speak first. And also, I'm very used to being dogpiled on. Very, very used to it. So now I'm applying things that I've learned in the past to the way that I want to pod moving forward.
Hey, I can't hate on that. I like that. It sounds like you're trying to figure your way through the pod, and that's something that anybody should do, whether they're being successful at it or maybe having a hard time. So I
Well, isn't that the point? Like,
yeah.
I feel like the point of even moving through life is to evolve. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to evolve in my abilities. I'm not dumb. I'm not blind. I'm not deaf. I see the onslaught and the avalanche of criticism I fucking receive. And I'm not trying to bend to what anybody else's expectations are of me. I'm trying to work around my expectations of myself. I'm trying to evolve as a person. I'm trying to be a better communicator and I'm trying to be a better listener as well. And I'm trying not to be instantly triggered by shit as well.
So you felt
So
okay.
that's no, go ahead.
So you felt that regardless of what was discussed in pre-production, regardless of what the guys were going to say, you felt that you were basically ready for discourse in case they had, opposing opinions to the topic, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I anticipated it. I anticipated it because I mean, the vast majority, like 99% of the commentary that I'm witnessing happening around this subject by way of men's commentary is, old, washed up, now you full of regret, blah blah blah, and I'm like, that's amazing that that is what you hear and how you process it. I don't look at it that way. But then again, people will say, "Well, you're exactly like her, so, why wouldn't you think of things that way?" So instantly, like, anything I have to say is instantly dismissed as far as I'm concerned.
Miss Pixie, you have a question for Miss Mel.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, first, I understand where Mel is coming from with, like, not wanting to present it. I'm just going to be straight up and say, in just the atmosphere, just specifically because it is gender role, gender war kind of topic, and you're the only woman in the room, and then presenting that kind of topic there, and it's like it's basically a lot of weight on you. And sometimes you just don't want it on you. Like, honestly, you just like, yo, I don't want to really want to talk about this. It's not something of my interest just because I am that one person, that representatives. Maybe I just don't care. And that's not something I want to do. So I totally get where she's coming from with that. My question is like, just in general, like, because do you really feel any way about it? Do you feel like any kind of point besides, like, not wanting to bring it up on the pod? Did you have any kind of points that you wanted to ask? I mean, expound on. Sorry.
Well, I feel like the conversation went, I think it went on for about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. I'm not really sure. But there was a reason I intentionally used the words lived experience because you can't refute that. You cannot refute somebody's lived experience. It's a distant cousin of opinion, but it is your lived experience. So nobody can tell you that you are wrong based on the experiences that you have lived. And this is a 52-year-old woman who has lived a very large life. I think that I mean, I just didn't hear anything wrong with what she said. I think that she was talking very candidly about her personal life. And I think that there's a lot of people, not necessarily just women, that can see themselves in the examples that she laid out. So, I knew that that coming up as a conversation piece was going to be an opportunity to kind of like poke fun, make jokes, tear her down. And do I really want to, like, participate in that? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because I mean, a lot of it's I guess I just don't see the humor in that. I can see the humor in a lot of things. But somebody might say you're too close to the situation, Mel. You would be triggered, you would be upset by it. Okay, fine, whatever. But that doesn't mean that I can't talk about it.
I get
Yeah,
that.
when Mel said lived experience, sometimes people could experience things even once and learn from it and never do it again. So I understood that what right when she said it.
I wanted
Yeah.
to I wanted to go ahead and follow up because I just have one more thing. Because me personally, and anybody that knows me or around spaces, kind of understands where I would stand on this kind of situation. But me personally, I don't know. I don't think I don't like it. I personally feel I don't like age gaps in general, and whether either gender. I think I don't like it. I find it sometimes predatory. I find it weird. But that's my feelings. But that being said, I'm not going to go ahead and discount, Tracy's like lived experience. And I'm not going to sit somewhere and say, well, her lived experience is not her lived experience because it's plenty of women that feel that kind of way. And that's how it is. Same thing as like, you know, somebody, presents it like to another male counterpart, Leo DiCaprio, whoever, etc. I find it also as well, like, I don't like it when they do it either. My thing is, at the same time, it's just the fact as long as they're consenting adults, who the fuck cares? Like, date who you want to date, live your life how you want to live your life.
Mm. I mean, unless I missed something, she didn't go into detail about how young the younger men are. So I mean, she's 52. She could be talking about somebody who's 42 years old. She could be talking about somebody who's like 39 years old. I don't know. And that is just her, the example that she gave. But she wasn't what I saw, that what it seemed like the guys heard when she talked about men in her age group exhibiting a lot of toxic masculinity. What she said was she has experienced it and she decided, no, thank you. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got sweat stains in the armpits, gave it to fucking Goodwill. I don't want it no more. She expressed specifically that she experienced controlling and possessiveness from the men in her age group, and she finds the younger guys, which she did not, I don't know, but I don't think she stated the ages, to be a little bit more fluid and less likely to try to control her or possess her or whatever the case is. Because, I mean, she'd be a pretty difficult woman to try to control and possess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that that was the point that she was trying to make. I totally understand, Pixie, you saying something, having an aversion to age gaps, no matter which gender. Totally get it. But I don't know, like she just didn't specify the age. So I think that everybody's like, oh, she's talking about 25-year-olds. I was like, she didn't say that though.
I like
So,
how you
Yeah.
anyways.
mentioned that because that was a big point when I had discussions, and not to take up any more time, but that was like a big point, and I feel like everybody kept failing the big point, and they kept just like speculating if it's oh, she says younger guys, it must be 20 something, it
Hmm.
must be this, and then it's like that's where it goes into the like, well, she didn't specify, and like it's versus I don't know, Trick Daddy saying I like specifically an age range. That's
Hmm.
Yeah.
very very specific.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was yeah,
Hmm.
that was nuts.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
T, yeah. T rank can go ahead and then divine.
Hey
Wow.
Mel,
Hi,
how are
Mel.
you? I'm glad you
Hi,
I'm
came
good.
up.
um,
Hi,
hi,
guys.
Mel. Good evening. It's nice. It's nice to speak to you. I'm a melody, so it's nice to speak to you.
Oh, thank you,
Um,
sweetie. Thank you.
I think I got put off that conversation almost immediately as soon as Flip said, "But it's a double standard." I was like, "Yep, this conversation is going to go all the way left." It was really disappointing to hear it approached in the manner that it was. I think Ish did try to move it along in a way that I thought was interesting, right? Which is, you get older, you make all these decisions, you think you have more time than you actually do, etc. Because I've heard him express similar sentiments in the past. And it's a shame that I think maybe the powers of recall are not as strong as they should be. He'd said in the past that he wished that he had children earlier so he could spend, he could spend more of his youth with his children. He could have spent more of his youth with his children. That's something I think is relevant to the point that he raised. Instead, he chose to make it gendered. So then it becomes adversarial. Then you get flustered with the constant interruptions and you didn't interrupt them. So then, so I didn't find it edifying. So I just ended up fast forwarding it because I was looking forward to it. And I actually said in the community, I hope Mel is reading up because this conversation is going to go this way. And
Hmm.
that's the exact same way it went. So, I mean, my advice to you is, these guys pretty well, right? So, and I know things affect people differently, but maybe don't let them get you so flustered because you know them well. I'm sure in your mind you knew that this it would become so gendered without them being able to identify with her as an individual, as opposed to it becoming a man versus woman thing, because men can express the same sentiment, without it. And they will all discuss it. And none of them is going to say, oh, shit, this is a double standard. They will actually discuss the men's experiences as individuals' experiences. But when it becomes a woman's thing, then it's like, oh, double standards. She's just a slide. She's just like, it was just disappointing anyway. But you tried. You tried.
I did. I mean, I do my best, but I mean, everybody has so much criticism for me, but they don't know, like, they don't have the same experience. I mean, it is difficult it is at times difficult to being the sole woman in a pod, having those types of conversations that automatically head towards the gender war situation. But if we don't address a topic that is a big moment in pop culture, then people will accuse us of purposefully ignoring it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't win for losing in that particular situation. And because it's a situation that everybody applies their feelings to, a lot of times I'll be trying to make a succinct point and then the interruptions will happen. And it's not like they happen from just one person. You know what I mean? So train of thought sometimes kinds of gets derailed at times. Like it's not at times it's not that easy to be having a conversation that people's feathers get ruffled in and they start to feel a very strong reaction to, because then they're just they start waiting for their time to speak, and then they just kind of just go in, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's potting though, you know. It's like you want to keep the ball rolling. There's a lot of variables that happen all at the same time, you know. So but I your assessment was, wow, spectacular shit.
She always does that.
I mean, wow.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Did you want
Mhm.
to talk about the topic, or did you feel like you like the audience was expecting it to be talked about, so you didn't want to disappoint?
Yeah, that
it
was like my question too. But I
it
had
was
I'm
it was
wanted to
both.
expound on that, but go ahead.
It was both. Like it was knowing automatically how the conversation was going to go, you know, and then just having like a lot of hesitation because I knew that there was, you know, things that would be a little triggering. And but also knowing it was a moment in pop culture. You know, we throw things on the board. We don't get to everything. We don't get to everything every single pod. You know, sometimes we run through the entire board. Sometimes we get to two topics. You know what I'm saying? So that was something that was brought up, and it was a big pop culture moment. Tracy Ellis Ross being interviewed by Michelle Obama. Like that was not a small moment. And it affected a lot of people, you know, like it affected a lot of people. There are women that, you know, don't have the small feelings of grief that she experiences. There's some women that are like, I never wanted to be married and I never wanted children. There's other women that can't have children. Like there's a lot of people that can see themselves in a lot of the things that she said. And you know, it just in a different circumstance, maybe the conversation just would have gone in a different way.
Yeah, I was thinking about that before. I was gonna ask if you felt like, okay, in the event that something like this rolls back around, you know, how would you, or basically, do you know what you would do next time, just to be able to establish clarification with the group, just in case, just so that there's no stone left unturned, so that when it's time to perform, there's not any, you know, surprises or what have you.
When it comes to topics specifically like this, I'm not necessarily convinced that there is like an enormous amount of interest for it to be discussed up there. I'm not talking about from the fans. I'm not talking about y'all, you know.
Well, that goes with what Joe said. Joe said that they didn't really want to talk about it. They just were going to give you a chance to say what you needed to say. So,
Yeah, and then to me that just feels like, you know, like an aside. You know what I mean? Like it's just like if there's no point, if there's no interest in discussing this topic, then I'll keep my thoughts and my feelings to myself.
I guess if
But I
Yeah, it
mean,
sounds
but I
like
mean, but look at this. Look at how much dialogue and discourse this topic has had, both on the show, the comments that people have made as a result of of it being clipped up, and now this. Like the fact of the matter is that this was a topic that has garnered a lot of attention and a lot of people's, you know, opinions on it. So it's just like it. I don't know. I throw my hands up. I throw my hands up.
Go ahead, Dash.
no, I was just gonna call. I'm gonna call on Divine and then Love Jones. Michael, what up?
Yeah, so that was my question. It was kind of similar to Juicy's. I was trying to understand like the setup. So we see the BTS and we see like the topics presented on the board. So are you guys able to pick and choose what you want to chime in on, what you want to participate in, or is it one of those things where everyone's expected to participate in all the topics?
Um, I mean, look, honestly, whenever like sports comes up, you see me in Flip, we kind of mute up. You know what I mean? So there's no expectation for me and Flip. We might ask the odd, elementary question here and there, and maybe I have some knowledge in something just accidentally. But for the most part, we mute up, and the guys don't really have any expectation that we're going to actively participate in that conversation. A lot of times, also, when they're going into like the business or like historical context of like music and stuff like that. Like Ice Parks, Joe, that's their bag. You know what I mean? So there's less of an expectation for us to like participate in those particular conversations. So like there's stuff that each of us is like have our strengths in terms of topics that come up. But as the sole woman on the show, if there really is no interest in talking about an experience that a woman as dynamic as Tracy Ellis Ross is, who's lived inside of our homes for the last 20 something years on beloved TV shows, and she's having a conversation with Michelle Obama, if there's no interest to hear what she's got to say, like, then what am I supposed to do about it? We throw stuff up on the board, and either we get to it or we don't. Like, there's but if we are going to bring up the topic, the expectation is, yes, that we are all going to express thoughts and opinions on it.
I'm glad you mentioned how everybody on the pod has their strengths in certain topics. So being that how, every fan has their personal favorites on the pod. You got people that's there for Joe, people who love Parks, Ice
Mhm.
Ish and whatnot. Being that
Mhm.
you have the melodies, your hive, how would you potentially feel about possibly taking topics like this that you feel you aren't getting the participation from and possibly making it an ISO? Joe gets his own ISOs. Ice might get a little something every now and then. Ish gets ISOs. Of course, Flip does. How would you feel about possibly taking those topics and turn into an ISO for your niche fans that are also there for you as well?
That is an excellent suggestion. Sure. Next, I will
You mean
definitely.
the very suggestion I made at the start of all of this when I said, Mel, if you have something to say on this, please lead the way. If not, we will skip it. He just said the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
Okay. My point was that
And
it
you
seemed like
are
the
and
guys.
you are rather passionate about this. One. Two, it sounded like she was saying some things that you could identify with. So pardon us for looking to you to say, hey, uh, your time to shine here, and if not, we'll just keep it pushing. Like how we being made into the villains because
I'm
of
not
that?
making. I'm not making
You
you into
saying
the
a lot of shit
villains.
that sound real villainous. You are. I've
I'm
been
not
letting it
making
cook,
y'all
and they're
into.
not going to tell you that. But we shouldn't be looked at as the bad people for like. All right, Tracy Ellis Ross is not our bag. We don't have any problem with listening. We could listen. You're
Okay.
right. There was some other ways to handle that. I don't think that any of the men in the room should have led that. I
I
don't think that's
literally.
putting anybody in the best position to
I
win.
literally just said that the guys seemed to have things that they wanted to say and expound on the conversation and questions that they wanted to ask.
I
They
know you said
seemed.
that, but I'm saying something too. I know you said that, but in that room, it's my judgment call to make.
Mhm.
So I'm not asking you to gauge the interest of the other men. I'm asking you, do you want to lead this or not?
I took my prior experience of leading the conversations and then feeling like I'm dogpiled on when I express what I have to say. And I decided to flip it this time. I decided to try a different tactic of having a conversation with the guys, and especially with Ish, because me and him usually go head to head and start screaming at each other on things like this. So I decided to do things a little bit different in terms of how I handled things, how I handled my performance. If I was wrong, hey, I'll back up. I'll back up and defer to you.
There's a few ways to skin a cat. I don't think this is about right or wrong. I'm, I just agree with whoever said it earlier. Hey, if something happens during the week that you passionate about, not you, but anybody is passionate about, I feel like they should be able to come in and get it off if the entire room is silent. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
something that everybody I feel like should be able to do when they're this passionate about something.
Mm-hmm.